Hey there guys, Scavenger Reviews here, and here is my review of Megatronis, aka The Fallen, and Megatronis, aka The Fallen. And right off the bat, these are some big boys. I mean, I can barely get them to both be in frame. There we go. Just had to scoot them over a little bit. And these are some big boys. As you can see, they obviously are both not going to fit on the rotator, the Lazy Susan, But here is the IDW / Age of the Primes Fallen, and here is the Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen. And gotta say, right off the bat, I really love these figures, both of them. The Studio Series one, mainly I love for just its sheer presence. I mean, this thing is massive. I've got like the Optimus right behind him and stuff like that. And yes, as I said in the previous video, this is a smaller Optimus, but hold on. That's what he would look like, if he tried to take on this Fallen. And that's not me underselling the other one, by the way. Let me turn that off. The other one is a big, chunky, beefy boy. They both are. The Revenge of the Fallen one is a little bit more spindly, just kind of due to the nature of like the design process for the Bayformers. And I gotta say, maybe I'm nostalgia blind and whatever, but I kind of like Revenge of the Fallen a little bit more. I mean, I've always loved the, very alien design. He doesn't look like he was designed by people who thought what would be a cool, sick-ass robot. He looks like he's actually a designed creature that is, so... It's mechanical, obviously, but it's so advanced it's almost organic. I mean, this guy has, 5 fingers, whereas the Fallen has like 7 or 8 or something like that. Hold on. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, he's got 8 fingers. I mean, that is ridiculous. Could you imagine being slapped by him? There we go. Get that in frame. He's got 8 fingers. And that's just because, why not, I guess. You know what I mean? Why not have 8 fingers? I mean, if you could design your own body, why not? And I especially love his big-ass clompers. As you saw when I had him on the Lazy Susan, they are articulated. So you can have him gripping his feet around something. And it's also for transformation. But, say you want to have, a defeated enemy on the ground, and you have the Fallen standing on him, there you go. You can actually make his foot, wrap around naturally rather than just being a solid brick. And, yep, totally in frame. And I really love that. And I will say, I have not been the best to this figure, but just because I've moved recently, and I'm about to move again, so this guy has been sitting in a plastic bag, in a box, for about 1.5 years now, and his joints are a little loose, and I don't quite remember if that's how they were when I first bought him, or not. I don't remember that, but maybe they were. Now, obviously, he can stand up, he can hold a pose, no problem, no foul, but he is a little loose. He's got total gorilla posture going on, which that is, kind of a neither here nor there, but he's eternally doing the come at me bro pose. He's like, come on. There you go, come on. But, see, and there he goes. There's his legs going, and, he's a little loose, but I'm sure I could tighten that up with, some screws and some whatevers. His spear does split apart, so that's pretty cool. And they actually just slide right into his hand, so that's actually really cool. They just go in one side, and then you connect the spear at the other end, and then you even it back up so that the connection point is in the middle, and he actually holds it in his two thumbs. And focus on camera, gosh. Anyways, why is that so difficult? And he actually holds it in his two thumbs, which is really cool. And it leaves up the rest of the hand to be free, and that's A, for sculpting, but B, if you want to be like an in-universe nerd, then, he can still grab things while holding his spear, so he could hold his spear and something else at the same time. Something in this hand and something in this hand. Again, I really love the Bayformers designs. They are intentionally not just robot. Not just big metal dude. They are intentionally weird, intentionally out there, and intentionally as far different from anything. I mean, look at the design difference between these two guys. Hold on. Let me put his arm down. And just, I mean, they've both got the spear. And they're both evil dudes. Oh, he's not on the screen. And they're both evil dudes, but look at the design difference between these two guys. Not only is the coloration different, which, now this, I will admit, and I feel like, even staunch Bayformer haters have to admit, the coloration is so much better on the Fallen, because I love the blue, chin, spine things, whatever the hell you want to call these. Very cool, very cool. I love the little accents and breakups of blue, and then the orange you can see kind of underneath in the film and stuff like that. And that's, kind of meant to invoke this, I guess, with the accents of yellow and the fact that he's got flames running throughout him and stuff. And I just think both of these guys are super cool, and I like them a lot. So, going into transformation, I'm going to be straight up with you. I don't remember how to transform this guy, but I don't really feel the need to look up and, find out how and stuff like that, watch a tutorial or whatever, because he just transforms into this, weird jet shape that's almost a jet, kind of a jet, more like a just triangle, And he never even transforms in the film, and I kind of like that he doesn't, because why does Bro need to transform? He literally teleports around, I find it both funny and kind of weird at the same time that they just never even draw attention to the fact that Bro can teleport, and so can Jetfire for that matter in the film. These abilities were just completely used and then never spoken of again, I don't know, this straight up the holdo maneuver, except they actually did address the holdo maneuver. Also, I'm gonna pick you back up. There you go, now you can be in the background. But, I don't know, they just, I feel like that was totally understated, just how crazy that was. But, like I said, I don't really feel the need to transform this guy, because in universe, I feel like he's so beyond that, because he doesn't even need to transform anymore. He just teleports. So you know what? I'm just gonna have him sit back and watch me transform his predecessor, his ancestor or whatever, because I guess it'd be further along in the timeline, I get him in frame. Actually, hold on. There we go. Get his feet around. Hold on. Oh, that's a little too fast. There we go. But now we can just be, rotating in the background. However, to get into this guy nice and proper, I freaking love this guy. I know it sounds like I was just hating on... Oh shit, he's stuck on something. Anyways, I know it sounds like I was kind of hating on, this design, and that, I only like the, 2009 design. That is not true at all. I really like this design. I mean, I like it for the exact reason that, I kind of dogged on it, this is quintessentially a cool, badass robot for the sake of being a cool, badass robot. This is what my inner 10-year-old child would say is pretty rad and, the coolest thing ever. So, first off, just speaking of the quality, this dude is not loose at all. I mean, look at this. Well, that was his kneecap. That was a bad example. Look at that. I am supporting all of his weight on his leg, and it is not falling down at all. You know, you'd have to actually, like, move it and manipulate it. Same with the other leg. You know, same with the arm. That one's a little bit looser, but it's, you know, an arm. It's not the end of the world. But anyways, this dude is built solid. And I complimented, you know, his clompers. He's got some interesting ones. They're definitely big and bulky. I mean, those are some mammoth, you know, / elephant feet right there if I've ever seen them. Except they're hollow. And that's to accommodate the transformation. And I like it, and it's cool, but it just makes me feel like if it's only at that one connection point, I feel like this is going to loosen over time, especially given the weight of this figure, because, you know, that's the next thing I'll get. I'll get a figure, like a weight scale, like Jobby has. But this guy is solid. I mean, you heard that, just like, oh, well, that time he fell, but you plop him down, and he makes a boom, you know? Which is very good for, like, you know, presence and aura. This dude is the peak of aura farming right here, you know? And the fact that Megatron based his whole life around this guy, I could see it. So, just like the Revenge of the Fallen, he's also got a spear, which is pretty cool, because his hands actually open up, as you can see. Yep, there you go, they're in focus. Anyways, his hands actually open up, and his spear can split apart into two sections, like so and so. And what's actually cool is you can have him just straight up wield a machete. It just pops into his hand like that, and then boom, you've got Jason Voorhees, you know? Specifically like Friday 9 Jason Voorhees if you want, you know? But I really freaking like that visual, and every now and then, I've had this guy for a few days now, and I just kind of move him around every day because he's actually really fun to play with. You know, and just like the other Fallen, he's got shelf presence. You know, he's got stage presence. I mean, this dude is big, this dude is beefy. You know, like, again, here's Tiny Prime. I'll stand him up kind of straightish. There's Tiny Prime right next to him, you know? This is a big, chunky, beefy boy. And he has absolutely none where throughout the figure, hollowness. I mean, this guy, like, even that is completely acceptable. His legs, like his inner thighs, almost no waffling at all. I mean, I don't mind when there's this. I mind when it's like a giant empty cavity. Every Bumblebee figure ever, you know? But enough yapping, let's get into the transformation. So first off, you just want to take his weapons from him, pull his flames off, which this one on my particular copy, this is like a very specific issue. This flame is a little bit looser than that one, so it wants to kind of wobble. Actually, is it this one? One of them is. Yeah, it's this one actually. And it's kind of loose and likes to wobble, and I don't like that. And then you take all the flames off, and drop it on the floor. That's a very essential step. You definitely want to do that. Anyways, and you could leave this on, but it's just easier if you take it off. You know, people will be like, oh, it's parts forming. It's not. This is parts forming, you know. This is, technically, it kind of just wants you to put it, like, right here so that it's like another shoulder cannon or whatever. But I like putting it back here because that gives them one more parallel to the Megatron that we know. You know, the Megatron that we know and love. And you could push it all the way in. I just didn't choose to. Alright, so let me first make sure I get all of this on camera. First, the really cool thing is, please do this. I know, like, maybe it's more expensive. Maybe the engineering is, like, whatever. And you can't do it on every single figure. But this is how it should be. Ow. F-word. Anyways, you push his hand out, flip his hand in, and then it closes around it like so. And then, boom. There's no gap, there's no hollow cavity, none of this. Get it in frame. None of this, which is like not even necessary. This is what I'm talking about, like the random gaps and stuff. It doesn't feel like I don't mind it in the thighs, because like I don't know, it feels more necessary. But like, what's that? Why is that there? I don't know. I really don't mind. Again, I really don't mind waffling too much. Okay. What is that noise? I don't know. Anyways, though, do it on the other end as well. Flip it around. Make sure you don't move his thumb around. There you go. And then you want to pull the chest up right here and just kind of accordion it out of the way for now. And then we're going to do things kind of out of order because I just feel like doing it that way. You want to spin his waist around and then spin both thighs around. Pull these up on the sides of his legs. Pull them up and just get them out of the way for now. Flip them around to the back. Point the heels upwards so that you can get this out of the way. Pull that forward. Push this down. Line it up straight and then push this back down like that. Same with the other side. Line it up. Push it right down. And then there you go. And just leave those as is for now. Anyways, back to the front. You want to push his arms forward, and then you'll pull his chest cavity. You want to pull it out, and it's really cool just how many layers. I mean, this is a thick boy that like totally deserves the thickness. And that'll just accordion out, and you just leave that hanging right there. We just need it out of the way for now. Pull this forward. Come on. Come on. How do I do this? There we go. Pull that forward, and then pull these tank treads up. And don't worry about connecting them like 100% just yet. And then pull these out on the side. Just like so. To get them out of the way. Flip the head around, because pretty much every Transformer has you flip the head around. I actually kind of love that being like such a constant. It just makes like nice synergy, I guess. Anyways, pull the chest windows, like, they're not windows, but pull these forward, and then you want to spin these 180 degrees. This is honestly a really cool transformation. And then you want to push them down like so, and then he'll do this. Like that. And then you want to take the sides, pull these up, excuse me, and then you want to straighten out the treads, make sure they're straight this time. You want to spin this around, and this totally reminds me of both Jetfire and the Expanse, which was the X-Men crossover that used Jetfire's mold. Totally reminds me of that. Love that figure. I know some people kind of have their issues with it, but I don't know. I like it. Anyways, it's got a tab in here that's gonna plug into a slot right there. Just squeeze it on in. There we go. Oh wait. I have trouble with this one for some reason. I don't know why. There you go. Squeeze it on in. And then you're going to insert that into that. And if it doesn't line up, just kind of push it back into place. And then leave that as is for now. And then, again, this is going to be the last step. You want to, I should have done that already, but whatever, that's fine. You want to push his hip skirts up. There you go, these things. And then you want to, come on, bitch. Jesus, I'm so worried I'm going to break that. Sometimes joints are so strong that you're actually kind of scared to mess with them, Anyways, this is where he totally copies the Siege Megatron, which I don't even mind. I love that kind of synergy. Well, I guess technically, lore-wise, Siege Megatron would copy him, but whatever. And it just simply clips into that right there on the side, which is pretty cool. And then same on the other side. There you go. Okay, so when you're doing it, push your thumb right on there and pull this way. That way you put as little pressure on it as necessary. Clip it onto the sides. Ah, damn it, I forgot. You can push these up and forward, doesn't matter. Pull his cock out. I wonder if I'll be the first to make that. And then that just tabs in right there. And then if it comes untabbed at any point, you can just squeeze it back in. It's good, it's good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, finally, we get to this. You want to pull this down, whole thing, and then these two tabs are going into those two slots. And this is what I love. This is like the Siege Megatron perfected. I mean, they didn't release it, you know, like 15 times to not perfect the Siege Megatron mold, you know? And then it tabs in right there. You straighten out the arms on both sides, obviously. And then this was kind of confusing for me when I first did it. You don't want to roll them in. You want to accordion them in. Like this? No. Like this. There you go. You want to do that. And it kind of was like confusing the first time I did it, but yeah, I got it now. There you go, there you go. And then it says to put the arms like that, with the top of the shoulder, top of the things facing downwards. There you go. And then the last step is just pull forward the missile pods, and then pull forward the, other type of missile pods as well. And then you take his cannon, and his cannon will split apart right here. And you can have it in long barrel form if you want to, in like robot mode, but it's not necessary. And I personally don't like the likes of it. The look of it, I mean. You take the barrel that you had from the parts forming part, squeeze it in right there, and then come on. There's that hole, and it's on the other side too. And you just want to plug it in like so. Oh, and it's easier if you kind of, like squeeze it in. I don't know how to explain it better, but there you go. Kind of do that. And then just get it all nice, put down, and squeezed in. Yeah, yes sir. And then, boom. That is it. And get out of the way. Because that is it. And that right there is a pretty awesome tank mode. I really love it. As I said, this is the Siege Megatron perfected. This is what it, could be at a leader price point, and this thing absolutely delivers on its leader price point. Let me just show you this. You can turn completely independent because it's the arm joints, just like the Siege Megatron, and you can even point it really far up so that it's even like, shooting at something like artillery style. I really love this guy. Only complaint though is you can see like the two arms on either side of the actual barrel itself, they don't plug in except for in the back right here. I wish they plugged in the front as well, because that makes it so it's like constantly you're having to line up all three pieces so that one piece isn't a little high or a little low. You have to constantly line them up like that. And it's just kind of annoying, to be honest. However, great figure. Great figure. I freaking love it. All of the accessories are usable in this mode. I'll put them right back down. And this is what I really like. You can kind of mix and match. I'll show you like the quote-unquote official configuration, but you can mix and match. There's tons of holes all over this guy. Pause. But you can do anything you want. The official configuration wants you to put those right there, which I actually like to spin the arms so that, see, that's what I'm talking about. Came right apart. I don't know. But so that they're like that. No, actually like this. That's why they came apart. But I like to put that on the outside and then just put this in the back hole. Because then you have the flame, like, kind of rising up out of it. And I just think it looks better than the official configuration, which is that. Which the flame is kind of sitting on top. So, I mean, both are definitely good and have the quote-unquote place. But I like it like this. See, because I personally just think that looks better. You know? But I feel like these are going to kind of get weighed down over time. And then the other bits, you know, the flame right here, you can put like out of the barrel if you want. You can put it back here. You can put it, you know, right here. I like to put it on the side right here and make it look like he's just like, you know, bellowing out flames as he drives. And then, hold on. The other one you can just put like right back here, you know, so it's just some random flame. Or, you know, if you do want, you can have it coming out of the, you know, actually I kind of like that. And then both weapons, you just simply attach. And then you slide it onto the slot right here. And that's actually kind of cool, because he's got like, now he's got like a little stabber or whatever. But, yeah, this, hold on, pull it closer. This is a true leader. I really freaking like this guy. I just wish his arms would kind of work a little bit better. You know, they're constantly getting kind of moved around because they only connect at least the two connection points in the back here. But that's nothing, you know, end of the world. It's not the end of the world, but yeah. And again, this guy, I don't really remember how to transform him. It was, I mean, he's already pretty amorphous as is, you know, but it just transforms into some, like, general shape of a plane, you know, / jet. But, that being said, I still like him. But, yeah, Bird teleports, so I don't feel like, you know, if he's not going to bother transforming him, I'm not going to bother transforming him. But I really like this guy. Oh, and of course, give me your face. You can do that to him. And, like, Below is not beating the monkey allegations. You know, I said he's got some serious gorilla arms going on. Yeah, that's some serious gorilla arms. However, look at that light piping, though. You know, I know, like, a lot of people feel, you know, different ways about light piping. But he's got some fucking light piping. Look at that. Yes, sir. And it's really cool. You can actually just have the mask. So, I mean, if you wanted to, you could, like, have this, you know, displayed on the wall of, like, you know, the Bayformer Optimus Prime's wall, because he's a fucking psychopath. And then you just put it right back on. Bang, bang, boom. And I don't have it on right. There you go. But you just put it right back on. And it's a pretty solid connection. I mean, this thing, like, it ain't coming off. I really like that. These do a lot. His, like, weird back armatures, they come off, like, all the time, which is super easy. All you have to do is, show you his asshole, apparently. But all you have to do is plug him back in. And, yes, I did see that. It came off, as I was saying. It doesn't come off very well, but that's because I pushed it. Anyways, and I did keep this guy in a box for, like, a year. I just happened to remember where he was, so that's why I went and got him. And I can't fucking put his head back on. But anyways, I've been Scavenger Reviews, and this has been my look at the Fallen and the Fallen. Oh, and you can even open his weird bird beak, you know? I know I called him a monkey, but he's got a total beak going on. It's weird. But this has been my look at Revenge of the Fallen, and IDW Comics / Age of the Primes, Fallen. And if you like my like my content, you know, like, comment, subscribe, and, you know, check out my future videos and my past videos. I really like it. Go ahead and leave me a comment if you like, and you can find me on Scavenger Reviews at Instagram as well. And you know, it's been nice. See you guys on the next one. Peace.